Hi guys, welcome to the second part of this video series, I suppose you can call it, about writing some pseudocode for the countries and capitals program. So yesterday in part one of this, what I did was I took the part up here where some constants and arrays had been defined. We'd done the login function, just run that function, and we had put some pseudocode together for this login function. Now what I'm going to do next is to take a function that's got a for loop in it, which sometimes can be a little problematic, but as we'll see, it's actually not that difficult at all. So I've got a function called print quiz and answers, so I've copied that over to my template here. Now I'm starting with a blank one again, but you should just be adding this on as a new page. So how would you do that? Well, if this was full, okay, then what I would do is put my cursor down the bottom of the page here somewhere, like on the right hand side there, and just press enter a couple of times until you've got basically a new page. And what we can do then is copy. So just highlight everything, go Control C, and then on this new page on the left there, just go Control V, and what you can do now is just delete what's in those two sides there, and then you've got a new page in which to write your second part of the pseudocode. Okay, so I'm just going to be doing that on this page, this part here at this stage. So on the left we've got this function print quiz and answers. So this is the list of the countries and capitals. I did notice that many of you had done that or have completed that using one country at a time, printing the name of the country and then the capital. Much better in my opinion is to have one piece of string which is created in a for loop, where you add each of the countries and capitals to the string and then you show it on screen. So how would we write the pseudocode for that? Because that's what I'm going to be writing. Okay, so first of all we've got this function print quiz and answers. So I've defined it here. Define function print quiz and answers. It has no parameters. Next line down, now this is inside the function, so you must indent. Okay, how do you indent? Okay, you just press tab. Make sure you're on your ruler, you can see these tab marks here, and if you can't see this ruler at the top, go to view and make sure that ruler is ticked. Okay, so coming back to home here. Okay, so answers list is equal to an empty string. Can't really write that any other simpler way. Okay, so answers list is empty string, basically the same thing over here. Now one thing to really make sure of, Word has this annoying habit of capitalizing the first letter, okay, and we want to make sure that the variable name here must match the variable name over here. We can't have a capital A there because it would be wrong. Okay, so answers list equals empty string. I just highlighted the space there just to make sure it looks like an empty string. And then how do you, next part sometimes seems really difficult, how do you do this for loop? Well, I checked last year, it's perfectly okay in fact to have a for loop like this, okay, in our pseudocode. So we can just put this straight in. For I equals 0, I less than countries.length I plus plus. The extra thing I would have or should have in my program is put var there. Don't need to put the var there in your pseudocode, but it should have been there in my actual program. Okay, so we've just basically got our for loop set up. Don't need to put the curly brace. And then inside the for loop, so once again notice that when I'm doing this next line, I'm deliberately indenting twice so I can see that this next part is inside the for loop. And then what do I put? Well, answers list, make sure that that spelling is the same. I just noticed I've got a variation there, that should be a capital L. They need to match up. Okay, how do I basically say to somebody I'm going to be making an answers list where I take this text and I keep adding to the answers list. Well, the only sensible way of doing that is what you do in the program, which is this plus equals. Okay, so I've got answers list plus equals, and then what's going to go in there. Okay, this is the text, the capital of, and then the country's I. Yes, really can't make that much simpler. Okay, that's indicating for this loop here, I'm going to take the country from the country's array in position I, add it to this text here, and then add on together with the word is, okay, the capital from the capitals array in position I. Okay, so that is my for loop stuff finishing, and then this alert over here, basically I'm simply going to say print on screen answers list. Okay, so alert would be too JavaScript specific. Okay, so we say print on screen, and the user can decide how he or she wants to do that. We're going to print the answers list. So there's my pseudocode for this function here. Okay, just going to pause and then we'll do another function or two. Okay, let's have a look at this next function here. I've chosen this check response one because it contains some parameters. So how is that going to be different? Well, I've started on the right hand side here where I'm putting the pseudocode. Once again, define function check response. Make sure the spelling of check response here is matched over here. And how do I put it's got parameters M1 and M2? Well, I just put that parameters M1 and M2 in brackets, like similar to what you would have in the actual code. Then I've got a variable R where I'm prompting the user with this M1 piece of text which is being sent down. So I would put R equals prompt user, I can even put with M1 if you like. Okay, and then we've got this while loop, so let's indent and put while what? While R is equal to, can put double or triple equal to, can put empty string, or R equal to null. That null's perfectly fine to use. Okay, then what would we do? Okay, new line. Now inside the while loop, so I'm going to go indent once, indent twice. Okay, then we've got R equals, then we've got prompt user with M2 to sort of match up with what I've got here. In fact, I'll copy that text, put it there, and that should be changed to M2. Okay, and then we're going to go outside the while loop. Okay, but still inside the function. Okay, we need to return value of R. Okay, we're returning R, it says over here, so returning the value of R. Don't need to say where, because it will be returned to where the function was called. Okay, so we've done check response. Okay, I'm just going to pause and we'll do one other function. Okay, let's have a look at this function take quiz. This is one of the main functions of the program where a user can take the quiz, so let's go straight into it. Try and be consistent with using words like define, so just notice that a capital D up there, just make that a small d like I've got for the rest of it. So define function take quiz. This has got no parameters. Okay, you get the spelling of take quiz the same as what's on the left. Okay, then we've got a variable. It's a local variable. So one thing, or is a local variable? Yes, it is. I don't think I use score anywhere else. So in my program, I should put var there. One of the things that you can do as you write your pseudocode is to actually look at your variables and ask yourself, is that a local variable or global? Well, just about 99% of variables should be local. And so a variable by default should be local unless it really needs to be global. Okay, another problem with that line, I should have had a semicolon there. Okay, so on the right hand side, what do we put? We just gave have a variable score equal to 0. So let's just make score equal to 0, new line. Then we've got this for loop again. Okay, so this should have had a var in front of the I, but on the right hand side, let's copy that if I can. Save myself a little bit of typing. New line down. Come on. Okay, and I can take that var out from the pseudocode. Okay, that's perfectly fine. And then we've got a new variable called user answer equal to. And then what we're doing is we're using this check response function. Okay, now what we said yesterday is that user answer is the response from sending these two pieces of string to check response. So that's what we need to also put here. Okay, so I'm just going to pause the video and put that. Okay, so I've basically put in here what I just mentioned. Okay, so user answer is equal to response from sending, and then I've just basically taken what was sent, okay, from the program on the left and put it over here. I have included the brackets here because I think that makes it clearer exactly what is being sent to the function check response. So inside the bracket, basically just that code there, we can take out the \n, and we're sending it to the function check response. Okay, so I think that's clear enough what user answer is equal to. Right, then we've got this if function, or if line, not a function, but let's now write that. So if what? If user answer is equal to capitals I, well, we've just got to put that. Okay, and get the spelling correct as you go. Okay, and then inside that if, we need to indent, would be adding 10 to the score. At least I did in my program. Okay, and then we're going to alert the user or print to the screen, well done, that was correct. So print okay, so that's inside that if, and then we've got an else. So how do we do the else? Well, we're going to make sure it's not inside the if. So indent once, make sure the else lines up with the if here. And then inside the else, notice that capitalized again. So this option sometimes comes up, the autocorrect options. See that little rectangle underneath the E there? I'm going to drop that down and stop auto capitalizing first letter of sentences. So else, okay, else what? We want to print on screen this message. So print on screen, and let's go grab what we're printing on the screen. Let's take out the alert. Okay, so I might just put that in brackets here just to make it clear once again what is being printed on the screen. Okay, and then in our program, after the else and after the for loop we printed the overall score. So how do I do that? Well, I've got to make sure that we're no longer inside the for loop. So really this should have been indented, that section there, just to indicate that it is inside the for loop. And this should also have been further indented, because inside that for loop, and the else should have been inside the for loop, and that, so it didn't indent properly there. That's much better now. And now let's go back and put this last thing, which is to print on screen the overall score. So once again, print on screen. What are we printing? This. Yeah, I think that's perfectly okay. Oh, this is converting countries.length to a number. So I think here that could be too JavaScript specific. So let's see what we're going to do about that. I think it's safe enough to take that out. In fact, I would ask you to please take that out because it's too JavaScript specific. Okay, the overall score is the score out of countries.length times 10. That should be clear enough to a programmer that we want to have this here as a numeric value. So it'd be up to the programmer to make it numeric like we did over here with this number function, but it shouldn't be in the pseudocode. Okay, and then the last thing we did was still inside the function. We ran the function main menu. So still outside of the for loop, and this is lining up with print on screen. Okay, run function main menu, or you could say call function main menu. Alright, so that's that particular one done. Alright, and so we've done 3 different functions here. Okay, and yeah, that'll be it for this particular part. In the next part, I think really we're going to be getting you to try and do this main menu function yourself and the quiz maintenance function yourself, because that's really just the rest of the program. So there's a couple of ones here that I'm going to get you to try yourself. Okay, ka kite, we'll see you guys in class.